Tricky questions from girls. Ben Alexander here from the Legends Academy, helping men with their confidence, relationships, and freedom. And welcome to this Periscope today, where I'm going to be talking about tricky questions that girls will ask guys. Now, this is a simple question today. How old are you? Now, you could say this is like an easy question. However, if you don't answer it the right way in certain situations, it can actually cause problems for you and perhaps mean that you don't end up having a great time or meeting a great girl or being able to move things forward as you would like. So pay attention. What I want to tell you about today is a few things that you need to be aware of, and also the best ways to answer this question when it's directed at you. So what do we need to know about this? Well, girls ask lots of questions to guys. They ask us questions often to get information from us, just in a basic way that you would ask a question. But oftentimes they also have sort of hidden meanings and secret meanings in the questions that they're asking us. And they're trying to sort of find out not so much about specifically what the actual answer to the question is, but they're trying to find out what sort of guy we are by how we respond and react to the question when they ask us. So if we look at the question, for example, how old are you? Well, the girl could just actually want to know how old you are. She might just think, I want to know, is this guy the same age as me? Is he younger than me? Is he older than me? Whatever that is. And the reason they're asking this is because in their mind, they may have some kind of picture as to the sort of guy that they want to have in their life. Now, what you got to understand is when girls are asking you questions, generally it's because they do have a sort of level of interest about you. They could just be being like really polite. But for a girl to ask a personal question about you, for example, like how old are you? She might be wanting to find out, okay, this guy's kind of interesting. I wonder how old he is. Does he fit like my map of, a guy has to be between this age and this age in order for me to proceed to the next level. Now, what you got to understand is, as though girls might logically and consciously have these, like a rule or something like that about, a guy has to be between these parameters in order for me to move things forward with him, they will often break these rules. And even though they have these rules consciously, these rules only really exist because, like I said, they're just like a conscious thing. And it would just be kind of nice if they were between these parameters, but any girl will break the rules. So let's look at age, or how old are you, for example. Let's say, a girl is maybe in her 20s, and she might say, I want a guy, she's 25. She's like, I want a guy who's maybe like 24 at the youngest, and, maybe up to like 35 or something like that. And let's just say that, she's out one night in a nightclub, and let's say Brad Pitt's newly single, and when she was a little girl, she always had this mad crush on Brad Pitt, and she meets Brad Pitt out and he's single, and, she's chatting to him and she's like, man, I know Brad Pitt's like getting pretty old right now and he's probably outside my 35 age limit, or George Clooney or someone like that. But she's still like, well, he's attractive. I'm attracted to him. He is a bit older, but I don't care because I'm still attracted to him. And they'll actually often break their own rules in those situations. So what you got to understand is, as much as girls might have these rules and they might be evaluating you against these rules, they will actually break those rules if it means that they can still get, the good feelings that they want to get from being with a guy, if they can feel cared about and loved, if they can, have a great experience, whatever it is that they're after in terms of their interaction with a guy. So you've got to understand that when a girl's asking you things, yes, she might be asking it from a logical sort of conscious place, but at the same time, it's only a problem for her if it means that she can't actually experience the things she wants to experience. So let's look at the other way the girl's asking you this question. She's also asking it in terms of testing you to find out, is age a problem for this guy? Is, he the sort of guy who's like, he might be a bit outside my parameters, so I'm going to ask him this question to see if he's cool with it, to see if he thinks that I'm not too young for him, and to see if he's just a cool guy and he's confident and so on, he's not insecure about his age, okay? So that's like another reason why girls will often ask these kind of questions. So when a girl asks you from that sort of place, what I want you to understand is, if she says, like, how old are you? And she's like saying it from almost a qualifying place. So she's kind of testing you, like, how old are you? Like, you seem kind of old. You might seem like a bit older than I would think or that I would like. And I want to know if you meet my criteria. So in that situation, she's actually testing you, and she's saying, is this a problem for this guy? Is he insecure about his age? All that kind of thing. And in that situation, it's actually kind of important how you deal with it. Now, there's a few ways you can deal with it. In that situation, like I said, she's trying to make you fit, do you fit her criteria? So she's actually taking the position of being the judge or the person deciding whether or not, you are actually meeting her criteria. So in that situation, it's actually important that you realize that that's the case. Now, if you just answer the question like, oh, I'm, say she wants a guy that's under 35 and you're like maybe 37, you say, oh, I'm actually 37, like it's kind of a problem, I think I might not be out of your range, then you're actually acknowledging the fact that she is the chooser and the one deciding whether or not you meet her criteria and not the other way around. So you're actually putting yourself in a box and putting yourself in a position where she's actually the one determining whether or not you're good enough. Okay, now this is not a good thing, because obviously if you're a good quality guy, you look after yourself, you look after other people, you've got things going on in your life, there's no reason why you're not good enough just because maybe you're 2 years outside this sort of logical criteria that she's decided. So what the better way to handle that in that situation, which is how old are you, is say, oh, how old do you think I am? All right, so just sort of play back a little bit. And she goes, oh, I don't know, like maybe 35, okay, because that might be how you actually look. Maybe you look even younger, maybe you look 32, and she might say 32. Now, in that situation, you could say, oh, no, I'm actually 37. And again, it might not be a problem or so on, but you could also, she might say 35, and you might say, oh, good guess. And then just not actually, even if you're not 35, you haven't said that you're 37. You haven't said, oh, that she was right that she guessed that. You just said it's a good guess, all right? And it's a guess that you like, so it's a good guess, right? So in that situation, you can do it that way. Another thing you can do is when she says, oh, so how old are you? In a sort of qualifying way where she's trying to test if you are too old for her, or if, you're insecure about your age, or if you think that she's too young. You say, oh, I think you might actually be a bit young for me. Now, so that's actually flipping it around and saying that now you're the guy or the person in that situation who's deciding whether or not she actually meets your criteria as opposed to the other way around. All right, so it's quite a sort of simple concept, and yeah, sometimes girls just want to know, like out of curiosity, how old you are. So what we're talking about today, guys, is those funny sort of hard questions that girls ask guys from time to time. So remember to subscribe if you're enjoying this, and watch the rest of the videos we're doing on this. But so let's look at it. So girls ask you for two reasons really when they ask you a question like that. One, they ask you just because they actually want to know how old you are. And two, they're actually asking because they're evaluating you against some kind of criteria, and they're trying to sort of see how you respond and whether you think that they're too young or that you're too old, or you might be insecure about your age and stuff like that. And so the way we handle it is always make it a positive thing. So your age is always a positive thing. Anything you can turn around to be a positive thing. So if she's sort of looking at you in a way and saying it in a way that she might even think that you're a bit old for her, you go, oh, I think you might actually be a bit young for me, and turn it into a positive of that she's actually too young for you and your age is just fine, and it's not anything but the other way around. So hope that makes sense. Also, you can say, oh, how old do you think I am? And she might say, oh, I don't know, you look, say if you're 37, you should say, oh, you look like 33. You go, oh, good guess, awesome, give her a high five, say, and then she goes, oh, so you're 33. And you go, no, I'm actually 37. But so that's if she asks. If not, just roll with it, because she doesn't really care. Ultimately, as long as she gets the feelings that she wants, as long as you're a cool guy, as long as you take care of her, as long as all her needs are met, like age really is just a number. If she's still attracted to you, it really doesn't matter how old you are. And I'm sure that you've had situations with girls you met and you might have thought, well, they're actually too young for me or they're too old for me, but you just had really good chemistry and you clicked anyway, and it really wasn't a factor for you. So I hope you really enjoyed this video today. Remember to subscribe and share this with a friend. There's got to be a buddy out there that's struggled with this before, or that maybe you just think, hey, this was kind of a cool video and I think I want to send this to him. So remember to share this with everyone. We're legendsacademy.com.au if you want to check us out there and get some more awesome videos like this. Also, you can follow us on YouTube. I'll put a bunch of links in the description to this video. So I hope you really enjoyed this video today. Remember to keep watching, stay legendary out there, and I'll see you in the next video.